Hello and welcome. Welcome to the first of the Moonbooks live sessions. If you are here and want to say hello, please do put a hello in the comments so that I can see who's here and wave at you. Just so I don't think I'm talking to myself. Hello, Luna. How are you? We'll give it a couple of minutes for everybody to find it and to arrive. Hi, Kay. Hello, Emma and Vaughan. Welcome, everyone. Moonbooks live sessions. Hi, Karen. Pop your hellos in the comments so that I can see that you're there. If you have any questions throughout the chat, please pop your comments in. Your questions in the comments, and I will do my very best to answer them as well. Hello, Diane. Hello, Carol. I'll do a little chat today about kitchen witchcraft and magical food. But as I say, if you've got any questions while we're going along, if it's about kitchen witchcraft or magical food or witchcraft in general or my pathway or moonbooks, I will do my very best to answer the questions for you. Hi, Lucia. And we'll see where it goes. It's always fun when we have a live because you guys steer it in the direction that it goes. Hello, Livia. Hello, Helen. Thank you. Lots of lovely people. Thank you so much for joining. Right, let's make a bit of a start. As I say, this is the first of the Moonbooks live sessions. They will be every Wednesday, generally 7 p.m. UK time. Hello, Trevor. Let's say hello to the boss. Moonbooks live sessions every Wednesday. Zinnia, hello. Generally 7 p.m. UK time. There are time zone charts on the Moonbooks page so that you can have a look and see where it is in your area. Hello, Maria. Every week for the foreseeable future, quite a few authors lined up. Different ones each week. Lots of lovely people lined up for you, and I'll just pop this here. This is Moonbooks' website. Moonbooks are an independent UK publisher, although they publish worldwide. Books are sold worldwide, and the authors come from all across the globe as well. Part of the John Hunt Publishing Group. You're obviously on their Facebook page. But have a look at their website as well, because there's a huge amount of stuff on there. Lovely mixture of authors, all from various different areas, loosely under the paganism banner. Hello, Andrea. We have obviously myself this week. Next week we have Chris Allen. He has a new book out with Moonbooks, Otherworld, Spirits of the Land. Following week is Ellen Everett Hopman. She has lots of books out, but her one with Moonbooks is A Legacy of Druids. Then the last Wednesday in July is Taryn, who has a book out with Moonbooks, Hoodoo in the Psalms. Very interesting authors. There will also be some throughout August and September. Those details to come. Hello, Nancy. Do tune in every week. It's going to be very exciting, very different to see what everybody comes up with. You will get a chance to ask everyone questions, and it'll be fun, I promise. I am very proud to be a Moonbooks author. They published my very first book, and I have just signed my 23rd book contract with Moonbooks. So thank you to them, because that's why I'm here, really. Wouldn't be here without Moonbooks. Hi, Jackie. I am, to all intents and purposes, a kitchen witch. My journey started something like nearly 30 years ago. I trained in Wicca originally. I've done the 3 Wiccan degrees and gained my High Priestess title, but I have meandered and wandered all different directions and ended up being, for want of a label, kitchen witch with a bit of hedge witch, bit of folk magic thrown in, and that's my label if you want to give me a label. Thank you, Lucia, and hello, Ness. I am practical, basically. I don't like following rules. I don't like being told what to do. So my spiritual path has to follow the same way. So that's where I've ended up, really, kitchen witch. What's kitchen witch? I like to think that the kitchen is the heart and hearth of the home. So everything that I do for the home is really based in the kitchen. I love to cook. Primarily, I love to bake, as my waistline will prove. So when I cook, I put energy and magic into my cooking. Hello, Sue. I like to work magic with the food, but also as a kitchen witch, I like to use whatever I have to hand. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. I mean, I have, you can see behind me, I have lots of beautiful things because, you know, who doesn't like beautiful things? But when I work my magic, I tend to work it with whatever I have to hand. Very practical. I have got a cauldron, mainly because I like setting fire to things. But you could use an old casserole dish or a metal bucket. You can use wands, you could use a stick or a twig that you find in the woodland, or you can use a wooden spoon. You can have beautiful chalices, or you could use a glass that you bought at the charity thrift store. For me, it's all about working with what you've got and what you have to hand. I absolutely don't believe that witchcraft should cost a lot of money. And I also believe that you should trust your intuition 100%. It will never let you down. It really won't. So Luna spotted the Marmite jar. I'm a bit famous now for my Marmite jar. We'll be talking about that later. I've got a tin of beans there too, just to pique your interest. I like to work with practical things. So a stone on the beach, from the beach, a shell, a pebble, leaves that are gifted to me, things that fall off the trees in the garden, anything and everything in my kitchen cupboard, not just the usual herbs and spices, but every ingredient in the kitchen, because it all has magical properties, it all has magical energies, and I like to work with that within my kitchen witchcraft. Jackie hopes there's an alternative to Marmite. Yes, we've got a few other things there as well. We'll work our way through them. Lucia uses a Marmite jar as a holder for her earth candle. Perfect, absolutely perfect. We will talk about the Marmite jar in a moment. I think for me as well, part of being a kitchen witch is being seasonal. And I think that's really, really important. Not just seasonal, but local. Whenever you buy food, it's cheaper to buy seasonal, but it's also going to taste better. So you've got a double whammy with that. I also don't like to buy ingredients or crystals or any kind of magical type of thing from across the globe. Not only have you got the eco side of it with airplanes and all that jazz, I think if you're buying locally, then you're supporting local businesses. But I also think if you can find things, if you can find whatever in your local area, everything's got a magical property. Even the weed that's growing through the crack in the pavement will have a magical property. I only have a small garden. I love gardening, but it's quite small because I live on the edge of the city. No little fallen down cottage in the middle of the wood for me. I couldn't live there anyway because, you know, takeaways don't deliver that far out. I like living on the edge of the city. So it's about making use of what you've got. I save everything from the garden, leaves, petals, seed heads, the whole lot. And it's going to have more personal energy, I think, if you've managed to grow it yourself. But if you don't have a garden, farmers markets, Asian supermarkets, even the normal supermarket, you can get ingredients from there. Don't spend huge amounts of money on wild exotic ingredients. As I say, even humble dandelion or weed has blade of grass. They've all got magical properties. So make use of what you've got. Luna would like to create her own dried oranges. We don't know if you can make them without a dehydrator. Absolutely you can. Really, really easy. Slice the oranges, put them on a baking sheet in the oven at a really low temperature, as low as your oven will go, and leave them there. Keep checking on them. It may take an hour, it may take 2 hours, it might take 3, depending on your size of your oranges. But that's literally it. Just slice them and put them in a very, very low oven. You don't need a dehydrator. I have oranges here that I've done that with. So absolutely no problem to do that at all. Senia, when I first tried Marmite, I thought it was a kind of syrup. No, Marmite's definitely a love or hate. Hello, Claire. Yeah, Claire's son did them in the oven, the oranges. They can take hours. It depends how thickly that you slice them. But yes, do give it a try, Luna. They are very easy to. Oranges, lemons, grapefruits can all be done like that. Slices of apple too, same thing. And then you can use them for magical use. Ness says, oh, airing cupboard. Yes, airing cupboard is good for drying too. I don't actually have an airing cupboard, which is very sad, but yes, they would be perfect for it. You could also try laying them out in a conservatory too, in the heat, so that would do it. So yeah, you don't need a dehydrator. So keep the questions coming, because I shall waffle on about all sorts of things. Just keep throwing the questions in, and we'll see where we go. I'll have to introduce you to the Marmite jar, won't I? Because people keep asking questions about it. So I see even Eric the dog's asking a question about the Marmite jar, and everybody in the whole world just saw you squirt the dog with the water pistol. No, I don't think a lot of people have airing cupboards anymore, Luna, but you don't need a dehydrator. Just pop them in the oven. Thank you, Ness. I can waffle for England, I think. Right, so I look through my kitchen cupboard to see what I can work magic with. One of the first things that jumps out is Marmite, because it is my husband's favourite. If you are across the pond, you might not be familiar with Marmite. It is a yeast extract spread. You might know it as Vegemite. You might just know it as yeast extract. Similar to Bovril as well. It's very black, it's very thick, very salty, and it is definitely a love or hate. But yeah, the basic ingredient is yeast extract. But look at the jar. Look at the shape of the jar, and what does it remind you of? Thank you, Claire and Luna. What does the shape remind you of? It is a cauldron. Marmite's actually the name of the, I don't know if you can see from there, Marmite's actually the name of the little pot that's on the front there. It's a French casserole dish called Marmite, with a much better French accent than I can do. But yeah, it's a cauldron shape. So it's absolutely brilliant for any kind of goddess magic. Livia has an airing cupboard. My mum put melons in to ripen them and forgot about them. Yeah, you do have to remember. Remember when you put things in the airing cupboard or in the oven, because the oranges do tend to burn. I've done that. Witch bottles, and yeah, it's like any bottle or jar is brilliant for making witch bottles. They're also brilliant for doing jar spells. I'm going to show you one in a minute. Tin cans do exactly the same. You can make spells in tin cans. But for the Marmite jar, I think it's perfect because it's cauldron shaped. So it's got the connection with the goddess. It's got a really strong feminine energy. Perfect. You could use it. You could use it for putting candles in, like Lucia does. If you're interested in candle magic, Lucia Staza has a Pagan Portals candle magic book produced by Moon Books. Do take a look. But it's brilliant. It's brilliant for any kind of goddess magic, anything that you think of from the cauldron. So it's Arwen, it's creativity, it's inspiration. And of course, if it had yeast extract in it, if you're working a spell with it, if you're making a jar spell, you don't even need to wash it up. You can leave the remnants of the Marmite inside it and add ingredients on top of it, because yeast is really good for raising. So it's really good for growing things, for increasing, for abundance, for reaching your goals, your desires, your wishes, anything you want to grow or increase. You could work a spell in a Marmite jar. Leave the little bits in the bottom and just chuck your other ingredients on top. So that's, and of course I did a talk at Witchfest last year, and I took the Marmite jar with me, and I asked people what they thought, what magic you could work with it. And the first thing that was called out was, look at the color of the jar, was black magic. So if you want to do any cursing, you could do it with the Marmite jar as well. Just saying. But jars, absolutely brilliant for working magical spells with. I've got some other ones here as well. If you do baking, you're familiar, I'm sure, with the vanilla extract bottles. They're actually really good. Now, I save some jars and bottles. I'll wash them out and I'll take the labels off, and I keep herbs and spices and magical ingredients in them. But something like the vanilla bottle is brilliant for working a little spell in as well. And I'm going to shamelessly plug a book, Kitchen Witch World of Magical Food, because in here, I don't remember all this stuff. Trust your intuition, pick up the bottle and see what magic it wants you to work with it. But if you want to use references, so vanilla bottle, we'll look up vanilla. Absolutely brilliant bottles to work little spells with because they're perfect size. So vanilla is good for love, spirituality, sex magic, passion and creativity. Bit of va-va-voom in this one. And it is a very feminine, but I know I shouldn't do that with books. It is very feminine energy. So you don't even have to wash it out. Leave the remnants of the vanilla extract in there, and then you can add other crystal chips, herbs and spices in there to fill it up if you want to work its magic. So vanilla bottles are really good as well. The other one I have here is lemon curd. See, now I haven't washed it up. How many talks do you see where you have the old washing up shown? A lemon curd jar with bits of lemon curd in. Lemons. Well, I look up lemons. So I've even marked them in here. Trust your intuition generally, but if you want to look it up, go with what works for you. So lemon curd jar, you could work magic with this jar for purification, moon magic, happiness, decisions, uplifting, love, protection, friendship and fidelity. So lemons are absolutely brilliant. Yes, and lemon curd is absolutely lovely, Luna. But leave the lemon curd scrapings in there and add your other ingredients on top. Put the lid on and then your magic does its thing. It's like a spell in a jar, or it's like a witch's bottle, however you want to work with it. Oh, are we freezing a little bit? Sorry about that, people. I am connected to the Ethernet, so hopefully it won't do it again. The other one I have here is a marmalade jar. And again, you're working with citrus. So Maria eats lemons. Oh, very, very sharp. So again, we're working with citrus. So you could work with oranges, which is not onions. That's not good. Right, oranges. A really, really happy, sunshiny fruit again. Love, happiness, uplifting, generosity, purification, clarity, energy, and fidelity. So again, that's brilliant for similar sorts of things. You could just leave the jar as it is and charge it with your intent and leave it to do its thing. You could put a candle on the top and do a jar spell, like I'm going to show you in a minute. Or you can add other ingredients to it. It's entirely up to you. I've got a honey jar here. Acacia honey, this one. Very, very nice. And I'm going to work a honey spell with that. And we'll do that in a minute. But honey jars are absolutely brilliant. Honey is really sticky, so it's good for bringing things together. It's good for holding things together. It's good for bringing people together after an argument, and it's good for making life sweet. It's good for happiness, healing, love, prosperity, passion, spirituality, and of course, the Fae love it. So if you want to make an offering to the Fae, give them a dollop of honey. We're going to work a spell with that in a second, but I want to just talk about my tin of baked beans. So you seriously can work magic with any kind of food or ingredient. So I've got a tin of baked beans here. Same principle as the jars. Obviously, you open it and empty the contents. But if you want to use the power or the magic of the ingredient inside, you work with that. So we're going to go with beans, which are wisdom, divination, and prosperity. Beans are brilliant for prosperity magic. Absolutely brilliant for that. And of course, these beans are in tomato sauce. So not only do you get the power of the bean, you get the power of tomatoes with it as well. And tomato is good for love, passion, protection, and creativity. So if you're working for a new venture or a new business or a new project, then work it with an empty baked bean tin, because you've got the prosperity of the beans and you've got the creativity of the tomato. Empty it, obviously. Don't have to wash it out. Add any other ingredients that you want to. Charge it with your intent, and then just leave it to work its magic. So tins, jars, packets. I have an empty tea box here. Very nice, rhubarb and ginger, actually. Tea boxes, absolutely brilliant. Tea is a fantastic magical ingredient. You can, of course, eat all of these things to bring the magical energy. But for working spells, tea is good for meditation, courage, strength, and prosperity. And particularly if you're working with herbal tea bags, you then get the added magic of the flavour of the herbs that go in it. But you could work a spell with the box. You could fill it with all of your magical ingredients, seal it, and providing all your ingredients are compostable or flammable, you could actually burn it. Oh, hello, Eric. Eric's come to say hello. You could actually burn it or bury it. Make sure it is biodegradable, though. Tea bags are absolutely brilliant for magic, particularly the herbal tea bags. We've all bought the herbal tea thinking, oh, that sounds lovely. And when you actually drink it, it tastes like the sweepings off the workshop floor. Don't throw the tea bags away. You can use them to drop them in a bucket of hot water to wash your floors or to wash your surfaces, imbuing the magic of the herbal tea that's in the tea bag. You can open the tea bag and use it as an incense blend, the contents as an incense blend, or as a sachet powder, or to pop into jar spells. Millions and millions of uses for tea bags, so don't throw them away. Claire, what would you do with the contents once the magic has worked? It's entirely up to you. You can work the spell and then bury the jar if you want to straight away. You could leave it on your altar to do its magic and then just throw it in the trash. Go, trust your instinct. Go with your instinct. If you like the jar, let it work its magic. Put the contents in the compost bin or in the trash and then wash the jar out and use it for something else. Hello, Susie. Toilet roll tubes. Yes, Claire saw something about using a toilet roll tube for spells. Yeah, they are absolutely brilliant. Again, it's like the cardboard tea bag box. Toilet tube. You have to close one end and seal it, and then you fill it with all of your magical ingredients, seal the other end, and then you're done. That's brilliant for burying, because obviously it's compostable, so long as all the ingredients you put inside it are compostable as well. Absolutely brilliant. Very, very straightforward and easy to work with. Brilliant idea. So let's have a look at the honey jar spell. Move my bits and pieces out of the way. I have my honey jar. Still got bits of honey in it. I haven't washed it out. I ate most of it. It's just got the little dreggy bits in the bottom that have the toast crumbs in. That aren't the nicest thing. Yeah, toilet rolls are absolutely brilliant for that. Well, I must admit, most of my toilet roll tubes do go to making tube toys for Eric. I put treats in them and then seal them up. So, honey jar spell. And this is about making how to sweeten a person. It might be that you want to raise in your job and you need to sweeten your boss. It might be that somebody's had an argument. Hello, Scott. It might be that someone's had an argument and you want to bring the two people together, or you want to sweeten their nature or their tempers. You need the honey jar with a metal lid. You need the bits of honey inside it. You also need something to fill it. Now, I've got just sugar here, plain old granulated sugar. This is all kitchen witchcraft. This is about using stuff that's cheap and cheerful and that you've got in your kitchen cupboards. You can get fancy. You can add all sorts of other ingredients. You can add the herbs and spices. Whatever you're drawn to add, go with it. Trust your intuition. I have been drawn to add some very strange things to spells in the past, but you have to trust your intuition. It's definitely the way to go. You need a slip of paper, and you need a pen or a pencil. I have the Post-it notes. Very fancy we are here. None of this fancy paper or classy stuff here. We got Post-it notes. Eric's a top student. He's taken all in. Yes, for anybody that doesn't know, this is Eric. He's a dachshund puppy. He's a total nightmare, bless him, but we love him to bits. You can, if you're working a spell for a particular person, if you happen to have a piece of their hair or a nail clipping or something personal, you can add it in. Otherwise, you can just write their name on a slip of paper. You need a candle, and you can also dress it with oil if you really want to, but I'm keeping this really simple and straightforward. So what you do is take a piece of paper. You need to write the person's name. I don't have a person in mind. Let's think. Let's call him Bob. We've just invented a fictitious person here. So you write down his name. You write it 3 times. So Bob, Bob, and Bob. If you can see that, there you go. Then you turn your paper clockwise, a quarter turn, and you write your own name over the top of it. So Rachel, Rachel, Rachel. What I'm expecting now is to get a real bonus through the post from some random man named Bob. I'm not putting my intent in this, so there will be no problems with it. So you write your name 3 times over the top of it. It's up to you. You can write it just like that. The one name 3 times, your name 3 times, or you can do it 6 times, or you can do it 9 times, or it's up to you. Go with your own intuition. Go with what you feel it needs to do. Now, around the corner of the piece of paper, you need to write what you actually want. So I'm going to put lottery win because, you know, let's hope that a Bob works at the lottery. Lottery win for me. I mean, you know, if you wanted to get a raise from your boss, then you would write raise from my boss. So we're going to write it lottery win for me. Write it around the edge. Be specific. Sorry. Be specific about what you want. Sorry, I'm not dying or anything. It's hay fever. Lottery win for me. For me, and make sure it goes all the way around. Oh, let's get there. So you want your desire all the way around the edge. It needs to be continuous. It needs to form a circle around it. See, you've caught me out now. I've got my notes here. Don't remember everything. So that surrounds the names. Fold the paper towards you. Because you want to bring something to you, you fold the paper towards you. If you want to release something or get rid of something, you fold the paper away from you. So we fold the paper towards me. Then you are going to charge it with your intent. Now, you maybe I could sweeten Eric if you choose shoes. No, he's all right with shoes, actually. He does chew quite a lot of other things, and he does eat quite a lot of plants in the garden. But has anyone tried to sweeten the lottery fairy? Maybe this is it. Maybe the lottery fairy is called Bob and we're sweetening him for everyone. So you want to charge it with your intent. Draw the energy up from the earth beneath your feet or from the sky above you or the air around you. Don't use your own internal energy. It will leave you feeling drained and dreadful. Mother Earth is quite happy to share her energy with you. So draw it and channel it through yourself. You're the channel. You're not the supply of the energy, you're just a channel. So give it your intent and send it into the piece of paper and drop it into the jar. Then you need to fill the jar up with whatever ingredients you want to. As I said, hello Melody, you don't need to apologise for being late, Melody. Lucia tried once and won a tenner. Well, that's better than nothing. You need to fill it now with something. It could be honey, it could be sugar, it could be anything that you feel will sweeten the deal. That's the whole purpose of it. And I'm probably going to get this absolutely everywhere. Yes, I am. So we're going to cover the piece of paper with the sugar. I'm going to be walking and leaning in sugar for the rest of the week, aren't I? So cover it up. You can hear it all crunching. Cover it with the sugar. And charge it. Charge it again with your intent and channel your energy into it. and then we put the lid on. If you are feeling poetic, you can say a little chant. If you're not like me, poetry doesn't come naturally, you can just state your intent. And then we're going to pop the candle on top. And then state your intent again. And then you just light the candle. And you leave it. You leave it to burn down. And then your spell's done. You can work the spell without the addition of a candle on top, but I find it adds to the energy of it. Again, add whatever you feel drawn to add. It's entirely up to you. But that's basically a honey jar spell to sweeten someone up, to get something that you need, really. Bear in mind that any spell, doesn't matter what spell it is, but any spell will affect someone somewhere along the line. If you go for an interview and you do a job you do a spell to get the job, someone will be harmed because the other people that went for the job won't get the job if you do. So you have to bear that in mind. I absolutely don't have a problem working spells to better yourself or to heal or to, make a better life for other people or yourself. But just bear in mind that we're moving energy about. So it's like dropping a pebble into a pond and watching all the ripples flow outwards. It is about moving energy, and that energy does affect lots of other people. But that's your honey spell, and you could do jar spells with all sorts of different jars. Pickles and chutneys are really good because they've got vinegar, which is really good for purifying and cleansing. Box spells, as I say, really good as well, and because you can bury those. And I'm actually going to blow this candle out so that I don't set fire to myself while I'm talking to you. But trust your intuition. You can add whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. Days of the week, if you want to work on a particular day of the week, look at which one works particularly for you. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are pretty good for sweetening spells. You could burn it on 3 consecutive days if you wanted to. Place a candle each time if you want to add to the power of it. I think spell work for me is all about adding layers. Each time you add another ingredient, each time you add a particular color candle for your spell work, you're adding another layer. Working it on a corresponding day of the week, you're adding another layer. Working it on the right moon phase, you're adding another layer. If you want to bring a pay rise to you or want to bring the lottery money to you, then you're probably better working it on a full moon or a waxing moon because you're bringing something to you. Xenia worked for me also with a court case where I only knew the name of the department, no specific person. Yes, obviously, if this is for your boss or for some chap named Bob at the lottery, write the name. If you don't have the name, you can be more general with it. If you have a business card of the person, that would be absolutely brilliant to put in there. And also, of course, you could, if you've got your own business, you could put your own business card in there and bring prosperity and abundance to yourself. Absolutely no problem with that. But every single ingredient, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's rice or dried pasta or lentils or that old packet of quinoa that you've got in your back of your cupboard. It's all got magical ingredients. It's all easy to use and it's there in your cupboards. Just take a look. Just open your cupboard and see what jumps out at you to work with. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be expensive. For me, that's all about working with magical food. But you can eat the magic as well. Bread is brilliant for working magic with. You can put symbols or seagulls, seagulls. I always call them seagulls. Sigils. How long have I been doing this? In the bottom of your dough or the top of your dough before you put the bread in the oven to bring the magic in. You can do the same with pastry. Put it on the pastry lids or the bottom of pastry tart. You can even make symbols with the pastry bits and put them on the top. But every single thing you eat has that magical energy to it. So you can work it into the food that you cook for your family. If you want to put healing, good old chicken soup. It's the thyme really that works in there for healing, because that's really good for healing. If you're stirring things, stirring soups, stirring sauces, turn them clockwise to bring in the positive energy. If you want to release something, stir it anti-clockwise. If you are peeling potatoes or carrots or washing the dirt off any kind of vegetable and you want to get rid of negative energies, as you wash, as you peel, see all that negative energy going down the sink. It's about association a lot of the time, I think, and it's about doing what you love, really. Even if you hate cooking and all you do is use a microwave meal, that microwave meal has got ingredients in it that have magical properties. Are you squeaking? Dog food's probably even got magical properties. I haven't even thought about that. I am covered in sugar. I'm going to be sweet for the rest of the evening because I'm covered in sugar. If anybody has any questions for me about kitchen witchcraft or magic or witchcraft in general, please do pop them in the comments and I will do my very best to answer them. I think for me, kitchen witchcraft is really a way of life. It's how I work my magic. I am a busy working wife and mother, so my practice has to work in with how I work my life. So when I'm doing the housework, I'm also working magic. So when I'm dusting, I'm clearing away negative energy. When I'm hoovering, I'm sucking up that negative energy as well. I have incense. I burn incense to smudge and cleanse the house. It's about working it into how you do your everyday magic. Susie, what can you do to undo a spell? I think it really depends what type of spell it is. The very, very simple. If you've set the spell, then it's a lot easier. If you've still got the bits and pieces from the spell, so not that I would want to, but if I wanted to undo my lottery spell, not going to undo my lottery spell. If I wanted to, I would empty all the contents out. I'd rinse it all away, and I would light a black or a white candle on the top, and just ask for it all to be reversed. You can work spells with black and white candles for undoing spells. It's all about the intent. If you've got the ingredients and the bits and pieces, it's a lot easier. You can burn the contents if they're burnable. You can wash them away if they're safe to wash down the plug hole. You could bury them if you prefer, but it's all about intent with it. But I would definitely use a black or a white candle to undo it. You can light a black candle. If you haven't got the bits and pieces, light a black candle, state what spell you want to undo, snuff the black candle out, snap it, and dispose of the pieces, and then light a white candle to bring in the positive to rectify what you want to undo, if that makes sense. I think it's all about intent, and it's all about figuring out what you need to do for that particular spell, because there are so many different types of spells out there and so many different intents. If you're the one that's worked it is much easier. You can literally just take it apart and destroy, if you like, the contents or the spell. Hopefully that helps. If you've got any further questions about something specific, Susie, do message me and I can talk you through it. That's absolutely no problem. Any more questions from anybody? Do ask away. I do tend to go with my intuition and my instinct on all of my magical workings. I don't tend to generally work with the Sabbats. I fell off the wheel, as my friend called it, quite a long time ago. I found it very, very difficult to connect with the Sabbats and the dates on the Wheel of the Year because they didn't correspond to the weather and what was the energy that was happening around me. Especially as I have a garden, it's very easy to follow the seasons and the weather for the time of the year if you're looking at nature all the time. And when I didn't have to wear a coat at the winter solstice because it wasn't cold enough, or when my roses were still flowering in December, it was very, very difficult to connect with the Sabbath dates on the wheel of the year. So I think they're absolutely brilliant idea, the wheel of the year, to mark the turning of the wheel. And I love the excuse to get together with the gang to celebrate. My personal practice, I work with the energy of the seasons, sometimes even the month, sometimes the week, sometimes the day. I work with what the weather and Mother Nature are doing outside. And for me, that's wild witchcraft, which is another sort of spoke to my wheel, so to speak. Another question here from Luna. Do you work your spells indoors, burning herbs, etc.? I find this can make your walls dirty. It's funny, I have a kitchen altar. I have a very small green man shelf in the kitchen that I put a little candle stick on. And I used to burn incense or candles on this little tiny altar. I sort of give it a nod every time I go in the kitchen as a sort of, please don't let anything burn and please make the cakes rise. And for a long time, I burnt candles and incense, but it was right against the wall. And yes, it was only when we came to decorate the kitchen that I realised how dirty the wall had got with the heat and the smoke from the incense and the candles behind it. I do work a lot of spells indoors, but I do work a majority of my spells out in the garden or in the conservatory. Mainly because when you're burning herbs and particularly resin, it fills the house with smoke. But I am lucky, I can work outside, and I work a lot of sun magic. So that's worked outside. So yes, do be careful when you're inside because it can make your walls very, very dirty. What is Peter's favourite witch food? Marmite. Marmite, obviously. I love all food, but I have got a bit of a reputation for cake. I think cake is a real witchy food. I think it is about, you can start with a basic sponge and you can add any kind of ingredient to it. Well, you know, sweet ingredient, or some of the herbs and things work well in cakes as well. You can add all sorts of ingredients to it to change the intent. You can start with a basic vanilla sponge and you can add different herbs, you can add dried fruits, you can add fresh fruits, you can add all different kinds of flavors to change the intent of it. And cake in itself is a celebration. It's a happy food, and it's brilliant to sit with your mates and eat as well. So it's a very kind of friendship food as well. So cake is probably the answer to a witch's food, I think. Ness is feeling an energy shift already. Yeah, I think this year's a bit of a strange one, although it's not really, we haven't really had a summer yet. I think it is starting to shift already. It is starting to work its way towards Lunar. And Ness says the whole thing of making the sponge and the stirring of all the ingredients. Yeah, you're putting the love of what you make. You're putting your energy into any of the food. Cakes are brilliant for that. Pizzas are absolutely brilliant. I had a student the other day that for her lesson, she had to make a mandala with anything she found in her kitchen. She made a pizza mandala. Now, to me, that is absolutely genius. Start with a round, flat, basic pizza dough, and all of the ingredients were worked out and laid out as a mandala. Well, there's nothing much more magical than that, really, because everything you eat has got the magic to it. Bread dough is really good to add any kind of ingredient to anyway to make a magical dish. Pies are the same, tarts, cookies. They're all got a basic kind of ingredient that you can add your own ingredients to make it as magical as you like. Claire's just ordered pizzas. Now, Claire, now I'm hungry. But it's all magical. The ability to turn anything round and to make anything magical is not only in the energy of the ingredients, but it's also in your intent. I think a huge big part of spell working is your own will and your intent. That's got to be the key to it. Because if that's not right, if that's not strong enough, then your magic isn't going to work anyway. And do remember the spells do have a habit of going off in unexpected directions. Whilst we might think we know what we want, it's not necessarily what we need. And the universe, in my experience, can be a total, utter git. And it can work the magic in very mysterious ways that you probably initially think, why on earth is that happening? But ultimately, the universe, deity, spirit, whoever you work with, they generally know best. So just bear that in mind when you're working your spells as well. So unless anyone's got any other, another question, do you work, Diana says, do I work with salt dough? Yes, I have worked with salt dough in the past. It's absolutely brilliant for making all kinds of things. I've made wreaths for sort of to celebrate the harvest. We've made salt dough runes, brilliant for that. Because of course you can bake it and it goes hard and it lasts for ages. I've also made little salt dough offerings. You have to be careful to only make them small because too much salt left out for wild animals and things is not good for them. But yes, salt dough is absolutely brilliant because it's flour and salt. I do like to add a little bit of spice to mine as well. I quite often add cinnamon to it as well. Lucia says, yeah, salt dough poppets. Lucia Starzl also has a Pagan Portals book on poppets and magical dolls, so do take a look at that as well. But yeah, salt dough makes absolutely brilliant poppets. So yes, absolutely, it's brilliant stuff to work with. That's my daughter Emma. We used to sculpt things out of salt dough when we were little. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. It's cheap Play-Doh for children because of course you can add food colouring to it as well to make it any colour you want. And if you've made salt dough, I've made salt dough offering dishes and goddess and god representations. You can paint them as well afterwards. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant stuff, salt dough. And of course, salt is really, really purifying and protective. So you can make all sorts of talismans with it as well. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, another book, Grimoire of a Kitchen Witch, has salt dough recipe in it. So just shameless book plug. So I've been waffling for quite some time now. Any more questions, if you've got, just post them on the Moonbooks page afterwards or find me on Facebook and ask me. I'm always happy to answer questions. Absolutely no problem with that at all. You can find me on my website, rachelpatterson.co.uk. You can find me via the Moonbooks website. All of the authors have got links on the Moonbooks website. So you can find us all from there. Lots and lots of different authors, lots and lots of different fantastic books. A question from Kay. Hi, Kay. If a spell needs cooking and you burn it, does this affect the spell? I think you have to look at that in different ways. It's a bit like asking if the candle's burning and the candle holder cracks. What does that mean? I think it's all about the power and the energy. I would say if the item has burnt, then it's just lots of energy. I think you have to trust your intuition on it. But yeah, I would say if you burn it, it's because the energy was strong. Burning is fire. It's a fire element, isn't it? So there's an awful lot of passion and energy in it. So I would say don't worry about it. It's just had lots of energy in it. Claire loves the shameless book plugs. Usually go and order them. Brilliant, Claire. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Trevor. You're very, very welcome. So yes, do go and have a look at the Moonbooks website. Loads and loads of different books, loads and loads of different authors to look at. As I say, next week you have Chris Allen. He will be talking here 7 o'clock, same time, on the same place. Followed the following week, be slightly different the following week. You get to look at my face again, I'm sorry, but I will be interviewing the author Ellen Everett Hopman, so that should be fun. And the last Wednesday in July is Taryn. So really, really interesting authors coming up, and do keep an eye out as well. There will be lots more coming through August and September. Thank you. My husband's put up the link for the Moonbooks website in the comments there, so do go and take a look. Helen says, I must have loads of that when I cook then. Yeah, just we'll go with that one. If it's burn, it just means you had lots of energy in it. Thank you very much, Lisa, and thank you, Claire. Thank you, Celine. Oh, I'm sorry the video broke up. It will be on the Moonbooks page in a couple of minutes. So if you want to watch it on the replay, if you've missed any of it, you want to watch it again, it will be on the Moonbooks page for watching again in a couple of minutes. So thank you, Andrew. You're very welcome. And thank you, Helen. Thank you, Luna. Thank you, Diane. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Do support Moonbooks. They are a fantastic publishing house. They have such a huge variety of authors and different books on all kinds of subjects under the paganism umbrella. So do take a look at the website and do like their Facebook page, the page that you're on today, and keep an eye out for the next live sessions. Thank you so much, everybody. You guys are absolutely awesome as usual. And have a good rest of the week. And I will catch you all later. Thank you.